Guys, new things has been added to my shop, so feel free to check it out. Link is in the description. Thank you! Hi everyone! So I went to the dollar store, as one does every once in a while, and I picked up this canvas. It is just a very decent, good size to paint on. Not too big, not too small, but really the size doesn't matter. Except in some cases it actually does, because I also found this guy knocking down the whole art studio. It is a monster. So when I saw it in the store, I thought that this could make a fun video making a giant painting, but it wasn't until I got home when I finally realized how freaking big it actually is. I mean, it isn't the biggest thing that you can paint on. People make paintings on walls, but for a canvas, it is a lot of space to fill with paint. So this might be a little bigger of a project than I first anticipated. So I will probably have to split this into 2 parts just to give me a little more time to work on this. So without further ado, let's get started. So first we'll need a sketch, and I have had this idea in my heart for a while now. I don't know where it came from, but I just knew that it would be perfect for this project. We have these 2 kitties sitting on chairs by a table with fika. And if you don't know what fika is, it is the Swedish word for coffee or tea or lemonade, often with various sweet buns, cookies, cakes and so on. So we have coffee cups, cinnamon buns, raspberry jam cookies or raspberry caves as we call them, and chocolate balls, which usually got either coconut flakes or pearl sugar on them. And there is also a coffee pot, sugar bowl and a vase of tulips. I haven't really done a painting in this specific style before, so I felt really excited about this, to me, new painting style. And if you also want to try or learn new things, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Craftsy. If you haven't heard of Craftsy, it is your online community and resource for all things creative, with a ton of inspiring and in-depth classes on a wide range of subjects like knitting, sewing, painting, drawing, photography, embroidery, cooking, baking and so much more. Perhaps you can learn some new recipes for your Swedish fika. I found a lot of fun and inspiring classes in the art section, like the 7 days of drawing to help building your skills and open up to new ideas. But also the sewing courses had me very intrigued. I have a sewing machine that I'm still trying to figure out, so the Sewing Essentials course by Ashley Huff has been very helpful, with a lot of tips and tricks to get me started and help building my confidence. The instructional videos are taught by talented and friendly experts that walks you through each technique with step-by-step demonstrations. And if Craftsy sounds like something that you would like to join, then the first 1000 of you to click the link in the video description will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. That is amazing, so thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the painting. So there is no way that I'm gonna freehand this detailed sketch onto the canvas, so I will have to use a different method. But first, let's paint the background, which is the pink of the wall behind the cats and the yellow of the tablecloth. I have made a digital sketch the same dimensions as the real canvas, so I could use the ruler tool in Photoshop to see exactly where the 2 colors would meet. And then I used the same measurements to draw the lines on the canvas. When mixing the pink for the top half of the painting and then also the yellow for the bottom half, I made sure to mix a lot of paint. I don't want to run out of it halfway through because it is very tricky to mix the exact same tone again. And knowing what I know now, afterwards I would probably have done things a little differently. In fact, I would have done many things differently. I should have just made the background in one solid color from the beginning, perhaps a brighter pink or maybe a warm brown. Even if it would be painted over later, it would still add an extra dimension of color to the painting. But again, I haven't made a lot of paintings in this style before, so it was just a great way to practice and learn. So once the delicious looking background was done, it was time to transfer the sketch, and this could have been made very easily using like, oh, I don't know, like a projector or something that would show the sketch on the canvas and I would just trace the lines directly. But since I don't own a projector, I have to be creative instead. So I first traced all the different parts of the sketch using tracing paper. I pulled up the sketch on my computer screen and I made sure that it was full scale so that the dimensions and measurements matches the actual canvas. And this is when I realized for a second time how freaking big this painting will actually be when I had to piece together 2 sheets of tracing paper to be able to fit the whole vase of tulips only. Then I took my traced pieces and I flipped them with the backside up with a soft pastel crayon. I then once again traced the lines. These lines will be drawn many more times before we're done here. To make sure that the tulips will be placed in the right spot, I put up one of the cats as a reference point. Then I one more time traced the lines. I'm using a dotting tool that has a sharp point, but not sharp enough to go through the paper or leave a dent in the canvas. So where I draw with a dotting tool, the pastel will be transferred to the canvas, and then I just keep doing that until the whole sketch is done. It was a little messy with all the soft pastel and a little tedious, to be honest, a lot of redrawing the same thing over and over, but I'm still impressed that it worked as well as it did. Some parts of the sketch didn't end up in the exact right places, so I had to move things around to make everything fit, but in the end I think it worked out pretty well. So since I've had so much fun drawing the same lines 1, 2, 3 times now, 4 actually if we're counting drawing the sketch in Procreate, why not draw them a 5th time? I'm going over all the lines with a brown paint pen. If I've had a projector, I could have just skipped all the steps between making the digital sketch and this part, and I would just have drawn the lines directly with a paint pen. Anyway, I want visible outlines, so I'm making the lines a little bolder and thicker. The lines are turning out a little uneven and wonky. It is tricky drawing on this canvas, but that's alright. They will be adjusted a few more times during this process. For now, I just need the lines so that I can block in all the colors. Once the line art was done, I used a kneaded eraser to remove all the soft pastel underneath, and yeah, I just love it already. It is so cute. Finally, it's time to paint. When I did the sketch in Procreate, I used flat pastel colors for the mock-up, which I really liked, so I tried to follow that sketch as much as I could. I'm doing one color at a time, starting with this green, and just like I did with the background, I made sure to mix a lot of paint all at once for all the different colors, so that the paint would last throughout the painting and the colors would be consistent on all the different areas. All the leftover paint was saved in airtight containers so that they can be used later when doing touch-ups, for example. A lot of white paint was used to mix these colors. I was a little worried at one point that I would run out of the white, but as I mentioned, I wanted a pastel color scheme, and then you will need a lot of white. Some of the colors didn't turn out exactly as I wanted, so I had to go back and adjust some of them later. The thing with acrylic paint is that the color look a lot lighter when the paint is wet, but once it dries a little darker, so I had to lighten up some of the colors a lot. So I mentioned that I wanted the lines to be visible, which means that I have to paint around every single little line there is. But I really like the style when the lines look a little uneven when you paint over them just a bit. I'm not sure if that style has a specific name, but it kind of reminds me a bit of lino printing. However, it was very tricky to make the edge between the outline and the paint crisp, and sometimes I slipped with a paintbrush or I covered up too much of the line. I pretty quickly realized that I will have to do a lot of touch-up both on the line work and also on the painted areas. It was also very time-consuming navigating around all the line work. So in hindsight, I should have just started with blocking in all the colors and then do all the outlines. So that's another thing that I would do differently just to make it a little easier for me. I would still have to go back and paint over the lines just a little to create this lino print style that I was talking about, but it would be a little easier to control and the process would be much quicker. So I was starting to feel a little doubtful and nervous about this whole process. All the mistakes I were making, the time it took, all the work I still had left to do, all the paint I was using. But I really tried to just trust the process. I told myself that this doesn't have to be perfect, that it is a practice piece and that it isn't a waste of time or material. The canvas itself wasn't expensive. It is a dollar store canvas and the paints has just been sitting in a drawer for a long time and it needed to be used anyway, and you need to practice to make progress and become better, so it really is an investment and not a waste of time. Also, I get to entertain you guys at the same time, at least I hope that's what I'm doing. And I know I seem to be a little too hard on myself, but I still love how this painting is turning out. The colors are so fun and the cats are so cute. I like that the cups, the serving dish and coffee pots and all the bowls aren't a coherent matching set. All the parts are different, which adds to the more whimsical style that I was going for. It is looking a little stiff at the moment, but hopefully once I start adding the details and highlights and shading, it will loosen up a little bit. I've been working on this painting for more than a week and I only finished the color blocking before I had to stop painting and start editing this video. To be fair, there was a lot of prep work before I could even start painting, and the mixing and the switching between all the different colors also took a lot of time and painting around the line work. And at this time, when I'm doing the voiceover, I am still trying to figure out how to proceed with this painting. What details should I add and how will I do the shading and the highlights? What style do I want to use? What to do with the line work and the background? These are all the things that I need to figure out, but I'm pretty sure that it will turn out great at the end, which we will see in the next part, so stay tuned for that. I am both excited and a little scared to continue, so wish me luck. But yeah, that is all for now. Thank you so much for watching and thanks to Crafty for sponsoring this video. I will see you next time. Keep drawing my happy cats. Bye!